on and got kicked off. I had to change to a different network. So we're gonna try this all over again. This one I'll be going live. It's just too much. It's too complicated. Um, and so I don't know what happened, but we are live again, and hopefully I won't. Wait just a few minutes to allow people to get the notifications that were with me a couple of minutes ago because I completely lost all of you. I am so sorry. Um, Hello, everybody. Good morning. As I was like saying a little bit earlier, I am not a person that likes being live on Facebook. Thank you, whoever just joined me again. If this is your second time, I lost the connection, so I am so sorry. But come back in, comment for me so I'll know who's here. I figured out how to be able to see the comments. So if you are there, please say hello, write a comment so I can see who is viewing because I can't see who's on. And I know that it is something that I need to share, then I need to do a little bit better with it. Comment, say hello so I know who's here because I can't see you unless you comment. We'll give it just another minute or two, and then we will be ready. Thank you for hopping on this morning. Thank you for hopping on. Comment so I know that you're there. All right, we'll give it just a couple more seconds. All right, how are y'all doing this morning? Thursday. It is pre-Friday. Please comment when you come in so that I can see. I am not going to be before you very, very long. I just have something that God was speaking to me about this morning. And I feel like it. Can't see the comments. And we are going to get right into this. Good morning. Hello. Comment, like this post. Feel free to share it. What we're talking about this morning is, are you standing in the way of you? Overcoming self, you know. Are you, just think about that for a minute while we're waiting for people to join. Am I standing in my own way? Am I preventing me from doing whatever that thing is that I know God told me to do? That next thing many times It is those internal factors, those intrinsic internal factors. You can always catch it on the replay. If you do watch it on the replay, leave me a comment so that I can know that you came and watched. All means, share it with them. So what are we talking about? Getting right into this. We're talking about what is preventing you from being able to do or step into that next thing, that God thing, your purpose. What is it that's stopping you from moving forward into what you're supposed to be doing? And so I like to tell stories because God typically speaks to me through my own situations, or he'll show me pictures because I'm a very visual person, right? So I got to give you a little background on this so I can tie it all together and it makes sense, right? So there's a gym here where I am, and it's called Primal. It's an excellent gym. And so I had known about this gym a couple of years ago, but I didn't go because I was intimidated. I was like, no, that's like a CrossFit gym. Y'all over there near death. I am not coming to that gym. So there begins my negative self talk, right? And so I'm going to relate this to not only things in the natural, but also things in the spiritual. So I heard about it, I knew about it, but because of what I saw or what I thought, I had already told myself that it was too much. And so if you think about that and you apply it to maybe an idea that God gave you, maybe it's a vision, maybe it's a dream that you had. And as soon as it came up, you already told yourself that, oh, nope, that's too much. That's too big. I can't do that. I don't have what I need. Like, you already begin the negative self talk immediately. And that's what I did. So I didn't go. I didn't go for till recently. Another one of my coworkers attends, and she was like, Holly, they got, a free trial week. You should really go and check it out. And even knowing that I had somebody that was going to be there that I knew, I still was intimidated because of the type of gym that it was. And so if you apply that to maybe that thing that God has been speaking to you about, you know that you have somebody to help you with it, right? But there's still a part of you that you are afraid. Fear starts to come up because you look at the big picture and you look at what you're able to do within your own ability. And we tell ourselves, I'm not qualified, I'm not capable, I'm not able. So before we even attempt to do that thing that we're supposed to be doing, we talk ourselves out of it. So we oftentimes blame external circumstances on the reason why we can't do certain things. We blame it on the timing isn't right. Or we'll say that, well, I seen so and so try that and they failed. We'll look at all of these things that are outside of our locus of control and we shift our focus to that. And then that becomes our convenient excuse as to why we can't do whatever it is we're supposed to be doing. But I didn't even get to that. Many times, the reason why we don't step into what we're supposed to be doing is because of our thoughts, right? The battlefield begins in the mind. As soon as we know what it is we should be doing, whatever we should be focusing on, we talk ourselves out of it. It has nothing to do with our external factors. It starts with our mind. It starts with our thoughts. So we begin that negative thought process, and that then begins our entire focus. We focus all on what we can do with or without our own ability, and we never take a step forward, right? And so I finally got it in my mind. I said, you know what? second week, trial week, and it is a very difficult type of workout, but that's okay. I hadn't seen anybody do it. I didn't have anything to base my experience on, but her just describing the exercise. And basically what she said, you're going to grab the rings and you're going to try to bring your toes to the rings. I had counted myself out already. I was like, I ain't doing it. I counted myself out. Why do we do that? Why is it that whenever we're faced with any sort of challenge, any sort of hurdle, obstacle, mountain that comes in our way, why do we count ourselves out? We already tell ourselves, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I won't do that. I can't afford to do that. I'm not qualified to do that. But we have nothing to base that on. How do we know what we're capable of doing if we never even try? Sometimes the fear in itself is that I don't want to fail. So I rather not try to do this and not fail than to try it and fail miserably. That sometimes we stay in that comfort zone. What I'm really capable of if I never even try. Again, this is about you know for a fact I told you to do, but you haven't done it because you're looking at everything outside of you. I'm here to tell you today, it may not even be anything that is in your external control. What are you telling yourself? What is that thing that is deep down within you that has you afraid to even try? Maybe you've tried something in the past and you failed, right? Maybe it's that God has brought this thing back around to you again. Maybe you have tried this before, and because you failed last time, it's right back in front of you, and you remembered how it felt when you failed. You remember how hard it was to pick yourself back up. You remember what everybody said about you because the business failed. You remember. And so, because those memories are there and now you're traumatized, you're in a fight or flight, right? That's what trauma does. Whenever we're traumatized by any sort of situation, it gets us in a mode where we're either times when you are in the process of attempting to do whatever it is God told you to do, maybe they what you failed at unless you told them what you're doing. That also sometimes gets to be the issue, is that we talk too much. We share too much. for you, who you know is, rooting for you. No, absolutely. Sometimes we need those people in our corner to help push us. So again, kind of taking you back to why we're here. So at the gym, she told us what we were going to do with these Olympic rings. And I had talked myself out of it. I was already trying to figure out, okay, what's the modification? If I'm not using these Olympic rings, listen, I need a modification. Now, mind you, I hadn't even tried. I heard her explain it. I looked at the rings because they're high. And I'm like, nah, I ain't doing it. So we start the workout. And so I finally get to the rings. And so there's a set of all over the place. Like I was on a trapeze. I was like, this ain't it. So she said, Holly, stop. And even while she was explaining it to me, my negative self talk still playing in my head. I'm like, I can't do this. All these people are watching me. And now I'm comparing myself to others because I see other people getting on the rings that have been doing this longer than I have. They're pros at the rings. So I'm looking at them and I see them get on the rings and they make it look easy. And so because I'm now comparing where I am in my journey to where they are in their journey, I begin my negative self-talk. Well, they make it look easy. They can do it. Why do you compare yourself to others when they are not running the same race that you're running? We get caught up again in that negative self-talk. Number one, because we're looking at the external factors, right? We're looking at all the things that are outside of our control. Number two, the reason why we don't move forward is we start comparing ourselves to others. So even though she told me what to do, I took my eyes now began to focus on what everybody else was doing, who had been doing it longer than I had. I hope this is making sense, and I hope that this is really speaking to some. Everybody else that is preaching. Don't worry about everybody else that is open to business. Follow the instructions that God has specifically given you. Because I don't care if 1,000 people are doing a thing, there's always room for you. The Bible says that your gift will make room for you. So it doesn't matter if there are 1,000 of whatever on one street. You have to believe that because of the specific instructions that God has given you, He is going to bring the people that are called to you and your thing, your voice, your ministry, your business, because there are people that are specifically assigned to you. So it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. You have to be confident in the fact that if God told you to do it, He's going to bring it to pass, right? So after I finally got past the external factors, after I got past my comparison, then I was able to focus on what she told me. And I'm going to be honest with you. Once I finally got up the courage to grab the rings, and I kind of hung for a minute. But when I tell you my delay, y'all, I feel like because I was just hanging and my arms got tired. The goal was for immediately, as soon as wasted energy, that's wasted time because I'm just hanging there. So I had to jump off. Momentum. When God is calling you to do something, He's given us something, we think that whatever I need, sometimes we wait for the provision. Maybe what God has told you to do costs money. And so we get there and we hang, waiting for the money to get there. Provision won't be made until you take a step forward. Where is the faith in that? Where is the faith in the provision already being there? And no, I'm not saying that God won't maybe already put the provision in place before you start. That's not what I'm saying. But in most cases, that's not how God works. He wants to see your faith. So again, I'm hanging there. I wasted my time. I wasted energy. I had to start over. You have to be willing to act immediately on the word that God has given you. If you go through my page, there's a video that I posted probably maybe 2 weeks ago. I think it was Christmas Eve. It is entitled Time is of the Essence. I encourage you, I challenge you to watch that video. It's about 40 minutes. Get some pen, grab a pen, get some paper, watch it. And in that video, I talk about how time is of the essence. That is exactly the season that we are in. Time is of the essence means that there is an outlined time frame that you have to do whatever it is God has called you. Wanted to, but because of how things are shifting and how God is needing certain execute, follow through whatever those instructions are. Typically, time is of the essence is used like maybe things are not done at the end of that time is of the essence contract. The party that is supposed to do X, Y, and Z are now in breach of contract. Have you found yourself in breach of contract with God? And you may be saying, well, what contract? When you said yes to God, you also said yes to his will for your life. Every one of us has a purpose for being here. You have to figure out, well, what is that purpose? There are certain things that God has specifically for you to do. And because we are in this time is of the essence season, you have a window of opportunity to do it. You have a window of opportunity when provision will be made available. You have a window of opportunity when the grace will be there. You have a window of opportunity where everything that you need will be made available. But what happens if you breach your contract? God is of the mind at this time and season that if you are not willing to do that which he's called you to do, he will raise up somebody else to do it. If you don't know the story of David, we talk about David, we know David. David was not God's first choice as king. Samuel was. But if you remember, Samuel was out here acting a whole fool, and Samuel was the people's choice. Samuel was never God's choice. The people wanted a king. They wanted a king. So here comes Samuel, and they got exactly what they wanted. So God raised up David. Don't be a Samuel in this season that you're not willing to do what God has told you to do. So now he has to raise up somebody else. And if you watch the video, some of you have heard this word. I also outline whatever is attached to that thing that God has told you to do. There's always provision. There's blessings. There's overflow. You being in your purpose is where you find overflow, right? There's a difference between being in God's permissive will and being in God's perfect will. God's permissive will is that area where he allows you to do certain things. Yes, you may be blessed to your purpose. But if you are not willing to get in purpose, if God raises up somebody else, he will sit your butt do what he told us to do. And again, if you're not willing to do it, God is like, I'm done pressuring you. I'm done sending prophetic word. I'm done sending confirmation. If you're not willing to do it, don't worry about it. Go back over there in my permissive will. Enjoy your life. I will find somebody else who's willing to get in my perfect will, and they will be in the overflow, right? So, going back to the rings. So I wasted time. I wasted energy because I just hung instead of, I didn't get started. So I dropped down. I had to kind of regather my thoughts. And again, I'm still somewhat telling myself, Holly, you can't do this. There was nobody standing in the way of me but me at that point. There wasn't ourselves. Why do we stand in our own way? So once I got me out of the way, I was like, Holly, move. I got me out of the way. I grabbed the rings. And she was still there, my coach. And she was like, all right, you ready? And I was like, okay, I'm ready. And once I got my rhythm going, y'all, let me tell you, I perfected it. Like I almost stopped because I surprised myself. And I heard her. She was like, you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. Listen, if we had been in church, I would have did a lap. I started to do a lap anyway because what she said was so powerful. And that's when God was like downloading. She saw in me what I didn't see in myself. Oh, I am not fin to get up here and be emotional in front of y'all on Facebook Live. She saw in me what I did not see in myself. And then he reminded me, so I teach group fitness classes early in the morning. And I think the people that come to my classes, they have a love-hate relationship with me. I think that they love coming because of the energy. But I think what they also love is that I am going to push them. I don't care if you get mad. And we have like a standing joke, and I'm like, who just cussed me out? Because the way that they look at me sometimes, they don't actually cuss. But if they could, I feel like I just got cussed out because I push them. And if I am not willing to push them, and I tell them all the time, if I don't push you, you won't do it. And if I don't push you, you won't do it. Because I see in them what they don't see in something we had to hold. And she was fighting. They had to hold it for 20 seconds. And she said, no, you don't. You will not drop. Hold on, hold on. And I counted down for her. And when I tell you, she surprised herself that she was able to do it. Sometimes we get mad with people who are in our corner because they see in us what we don't see in ourselves. I was mad at her for making me go to them rings. But she said, you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. People oftentimes will see in us, they see our abilities, they see the things in us that we don't see in ourselves. Don't shoot the messenger. Trust those people that you know know you and who can push you, because sometimes we do have to be pushed into that next thing because it's scary, it's intimidating, right? And I hopped down and she was like, yes. And even to myself, I'm like, man, to the higher rings because you were hesitant because the lower ring go up a level. You're going to have to go up higher because you're still hindering yourself because you're trying to stay in your comfort zone. But I see you. I've done this long enough to know that you can handle going up a little bit higher. Sometimes you have to trust what God is telling you to do. If God sees that where you are, you're comfortable and maybe you're hesitant because there may be something there that is going to trip you up. Maybe you're hesitant because there is something there that is going to prevent you from fully being able to get the full momentum, because once you get that momentum, I'm here to tell you this morning that you're going to take off. You're going to exceed. You're going to excel. You're going to step fully into that thing as God has called you to do. But sometimes it is going to require you to go up a little bit higher. Sometimes it will require you to go up a little bit higher. So I had already settled in the fact, yes, I can do it. But then when she said, when you come back around your next set, I need you to go to the higher rings, I immediately, now, I discounted the fact that I had just did this exercise. It went away. Like I forgot that I just did it. So why did I start the negative self-talk? I'm doing the exact same thing, but I'm doing it on a new level. You cannot stay at the same level forever. If you want to grow spiritually, come on up a little bit higher. If you want to grow in God, come on up a little bit higher. If you want to grow in your faith, come on up a little bit higher. Whatever it is that you are trying to grow in, maybe you're trying to grow that business. Maybe you're trying to grow that God idea. I'm telling you that it may not happen if you stay in that comfort zone. Yes, I did it. Praise God for your ability to do it. But what more can you do if you come up above those circumstances? If you're able to come up above those hindrances, if you're able to come up above those naysayers, if you're able to come up above your past failures, if you're able to come up just a little bit higher, what can you then accomplish getting outside of your comfort zone? Right? Because sometimes God will allow us to attempt that thing in our comfort zone, in that safe space, so that we can build confidence in ourselves, but that we also can build confidence in Him. Right? So He will require us, okay, that's good, that's cute, but I need you to come up a little bit higher. So the entire time, so we had like 6 or 7 exercises. So I finished that. And so as I'm working through all of my other exercises, I'm already thinking about these rings. I wasn't worried about any of the other exercises, but I'm already talking to myself because I know I ain't gonna let my coach down. Like if she thinks that I can do the higher rings and challenge myself, I gotta at least try. We can't be in a place that we are not even willing to try. Because then I had to tell myself, Holly, what is the worst thing that can happen? If you can't do it on the big rings, you keep trying until you can, right? So I made it back around. So here I am. I did the same thing. As I'm walking to the rings, because they are high, I had to use a box to jump up and reach them. That's how high they are. So I went, got my little box, put it under the rings, and I stood on the box. But I learned from my previous attempt, I can't get up in here and hang unless I'm ready. So I did all my contemplating while I was on the box. And my coach had left me. But you know why she left me? Because she had enough confidence in me that I was able to do it. She was no longer babysitting me because I had already showed her that I can do it. Sometimes when we are going up a little bit higher, we don't think that God is as close. We feel that God has abandoned us. Well, God, you told me to come up here. You told me to come up a little bit higher and do this. Where are you? I don't hear you. I don't see you. But the Bible tells us that he will never leave us nor forsake us. Although my coach wasn't beside me, she was in the room. So although you may not feel God right there beside you, although you may not still hear his voice, what did he tell you to do? He said that he will never leave you or forsake you. So if he has called you to come up a little bit higher, don't you think he's there too? As a good parent, we don't always run to our children's aid. We will step back and allow them to figure things out. Then if they need us, we'll run to their rescue. She wasn't there because I didn't need her. She told me what to do. She trusted that I could execute what she told me to do without getting hurt. I am sure that if she thought that I was going to fall or hurt myself, she would have came and stood beside me to make sure that I had it. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, as she was walking around and she saw me contemplating those higher rings, I heard her say, "Holly, you got it." Sometimes that's all you're going to get from God. Girl, you got it. You got it. Sir, you got it. Because you've already proven that you can do it, but we get intimidated because it's a little bit higher. So I got it together. I grabbed the rings and I heard her voice, and that gave me a little bit of like, okay, she said I got it. So I grabbed the rings, and y'all, I get kind of emotional just thinking about it because I was so intimidated by those rings, and I'm almost like mad with myself because I was like legit scared to do the rings. But I got up there, the higher rings, the highest ones that they had. And the comfort of my box was no longer there because when I was on the lower rings, occasionally my toes would graze, not the box, they would graze the floor because the floor was closed. So I had the protection of the floor, right? But when I jumped up and grabbed those rings and I realized, man, the floor isn't there. So I so proud of myself. And y'all may be like, why are you getting emotional about those rings? Because there's not a lot of things that intimidate me. Encourage you. We have to be okay when we go to that higher level because you may not be able to touch the floor. You may not have that security blanket up under you. But how will you know what you're capable of doing unless you're willing to go up just a little bit higher? You have to trust and believe that if God has called you there, he is there. But it's not even him that's the problem. The problem is that we don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our own ability to do whatever it is God has told you to do. Believe in yourself. Trust in yourself. Like my coach told me this morning, you are stronger than you're giving yourself credit for. You have to be able to step out on faith. There are so many things that God is wanting to do in this season, but you can't do it from those low rings. You are going to have to grab those high rings. Trust in your own ability. Trust in the God that made you to come up just a little bit higher. It's going to cost you something. It cost me not being worried about making a mistake because I could easily do something wrong and I fall. But what if I fall? It wouldn't have been the end of the world. I would have picked myself up and tried it again. But had I stayed frozen in fear and thinking about all the reasons why I can't do it, I would have never been able to see that in fact, I am stronger than I give myself credit for. And other things, sometimes people don't realize. They look at people who they see as, oh, you so strong, you so strong. but they don't know what it costs to get there. They don't see moments like this when you cry because you were afraid to attempt to exercise. Because I don't know why I'm emotional about it. And I think that it really is bigger than the fact that it wasn't about those rings. I know that there are things that God has told me to do, but I put me in the way. Maybe I'm afraid to move forward. Maybe I'm afraid of what people are going to say. And I think that's why I really don't like coming live, because I worry about, in a sense, what are people going to say? I don't come live, but I know who God has called me to be. And I can no longer hide behind the shadows of comfort. I can no longer hide behind the shadows of what are they going to say? I can't do that, because this was for somebody this morning. I hope that this ministered to you. I just wanted to encourage you to get you out of the way. You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. The Bible says that we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength, right? But in that, make sure you are doing all things in your purpose. Not what they say you should be doing, but what are you doing that God said you should be doing? Again, if you have time, scroll on my page. There's another video. It's called Time is of the Essence. Watch it. It's about 40 minutes. Woo! So, again, I just want to encourage you this morning. I hope this blessed somebody. Even if it only blessed one person, I am okay with that. People don't often see this side of me. Some people don't even know that this is who I am, because I don't walk around like this, a lot of times. But, this is who I am. I have to be okay with that can benefit from it. Reshare it, repost it, whatever it's called. Thank you for on. I hope this was a blessing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love you guys.